You ever get a letter in your own handwriting but have no memory of writing it? No return address, no date, just words that know too much, like they've been waiting for you to become the person who can understand them. Sometimes a voice finds you, not a stranger's voice, your voice, from a place ahead of you you haven't reached yet. And when it does, it doesn't feel foreign, it feels inevitable. This is not nostalgia. This is not imagination. This is what happens when the future refuses to leave you behind. This is the Envelope Series. There is a moment that does not make headlines. It does not arrive with music. It does not feel like inspiration. Most of the time, nobody else even knows it happened, but it might be the most important moment of your life. It's the moment when waiting finally stops making sense. For a long time, waiting feels reasonable. You tell yourself you're thinking things through. You tell yourself you're being patient. You tell yourself the timing just isn't right yet. Tomorrow sounds reasonable. Next week sounds realistic. Next month sounds safe. And slowly, almost without noticing it, waiting begins to feel like progress until the signals start showing up. The number on the scale that keeps climbing. The doctor mentioning blood pressure like it's becoming normal. Another prescription added to the bottle already sitting on the counter. The quiet realization that your body is beginning to negotiate with the choices you keep making. You convince yourself you're managing it. Managing the weight, managing the medications, managing the promises to start tomorrow. But deep down, something begins to whisper the truth. You are not managing your life. You are managing your decline. And once that realization arrives, it lands with the weight that is impossible to ignore. You cannot sit here another second, not another excuse, not another promise, not another tomorrow, because staying where you are has finally become heavier than the fear of moving. When that moment arrives, something inside you changes, not dramatically, not loudly, but permanently. And what I did not understand at the time was that someone had already written to me about that moment. I just hadn't opened the letter yet. You believed the road would begin with courage. It did not. It began with honesty. For years, you convinced yourself that you needed more time, more information, a better plan, a stronger version of yourself before you were allowed to begin. But the truth was much simpler. You were hiding inside tomorrow. You called it patience. You called it preparation. You called it timing. But deep down, you knew what it really was. Waiting felt safe because it allowed you to believe change was still coming without asking you to move. And the longer you stayed there, the more convincing the story became, until the day arrived when waiting hurt more than action. That was the moment everything changed. Not because you suddenly understood the entire road ahead, but because you refused to sit any longer. You did not move because you were fearless. You moved because you were honest. You finally admitted that tomorrow had become a hiding place. And once you saw that clearly, you could not go back. The road you are on now did not begin with certainty. It began with a decision that sounded like this: not another second. Looking back now, I realized something I could not see at the time. The moment I decided I could not wait another second was not the finish line. It was the moment the road finally opened up in front of me. Not because I suddenly knew where it led, but because standing still was no longer an option. And once that shift happens, something inside you begins to change. Time stops feeling endless. Tomorrow stops feeling guaranteed. And the question that quietly follows you everywhere becomes impossible to ignore. What are you going to do with the time you still have? Because time was always moving. The only question was whether you were going to move with it. For some people, life simply happens to them. Days pass, years pass, and one day they wake up wondering where the time went. But every once in a while, someone reaches a moment when waiting no longer feels acceptable. And that is the moment everything begins to change. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when life slows down, not another second. The next letter arrives in episode 39, and it begins with the realization that the time you thought you had was never promised. This is the Envelope series.